Morning. Thank you very much for giving up your time this morning on what is a pretty miserable day. I'll hand over to Henry in a second, but I want to introduce, obviously as you can see on the screen, we're starting launching this tour quite earlier than we normally do. St George's Park is very sought after. It's quite tough to get into, so we've managed to hold these dates for next year when the boys are obviously in year 4. I've worked with Henry for, I can't think how many years now, since nearly 10 years, on various different tours. Some of people that other friends have sent children on tours. We're going with Henry to Lille with year 5 and 6 in a couple of weeks. So a lot of we've got really well. We've got a good connection, good relationship. We know what the boys want. We know what we want as a school. So full trust in Henry on delivering another epic tour. But I'll hand over to him, and any questions you have for either me or Henry, we can go through them at the end. Thank you, Henry.
Morning. Yeah, my name's Henry, and I suppose I own Travel for Sport, and I've been working with the school, as Toby said, for the last 10 years with the senior school as well. So we've got the boys going off to Lille, and then we've got the big long haul girls trip for the hockey and netball going out to South Africa in October. So do a lot with the school. I'm only based down in Twickenham, so I'm very easy for Toby to get into the school and hassle and get all this stuff right. This morning I won't keep you too long, 10-15 minutes, and I'll run through a little bit about the company, but also the nuts and bolts of what's involved with the St George's Park tour. It's a great tour for the age group of your boys. It's a developmental tour. They're not going away in a kind of first team and training. It is really, the idea is it's their first of many tours, but it could be their one and only if they don't like it. But it's only 3 days, 2 nights, so it shouldn't be too much hassle. The dates that we've got locked in, as Toby said, it's very hard to get into St George's Park, so it's Friday the 4th till Sunday the 6th of October, and usually they'd be leaving Surbiton early-ish morning.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad. A little bit about Travel for Sport. It's been going for about a year now, but I've been in the industry a lot longer than that. I've worked for 12 years in the industry. My business partner has been in the industry for another 10 years. So combined, that's over 20 years of experience. I suppose the biggest point on that slide there is our financial protection. We're fully protected by the PTS and ATOL, so if anything did happen to Travel for Sport between now and October and the tour departing, your money would be safe and secure. It won't, but I thought I'd put it anyway. We also meet all the health and safety standards needed to run any kind of school trip. It's amazing what the internet can bring.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I know. It's new one for me. So transport is done with school minibuses. As I said, they'll set off from school. Don't worry too much about taking any of this down. It is recorded, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll send it out on Friday as well.
I think the biggest thing on this is around 3 hours. Those of you who don't know where St George's Park is, it's Burton-on-Trent, so Midlands. Around 3 hours from school, but there'll be a stop off.
Yeah.
If needed, I think the main thing is they're only going for 3 days, 2 nights. They do not need 25 kg worth of luggage. Nice bit of hand luggage, and then something to go underneath. They're going to be completely spoiled. This is where, when I say the home of England football, all England sides, including Harry Kane in the first team, down all the underage groups, women, and also the English men's rugby league, will stay at this lovely 4-star hotel. So yeah, it genuinely is, as a company, one of the best hotels that we offer to any place that we tour. So it is a very special place. That'll be greeted. It's full of memorabilia, full of shirts. Also, it'll make us feel rather old, but it's got pictures of David Beckham, who we obviously don't know, but the kids probably won't know who he was in his playing days. Again, yeah, quite a generic picture of a room, but it is very lovely. The rooms will largely be twins and triples. As a touring company, we stay well away from the rooming list because it is the hardest thing to do. But teachers have got it all under control, and don't worry, the kids will be in a room with someone that they get on with. The meal plan, they're young, hungry boys, and it caters for everything. So if there are any dietary requirements, as long as you let us know beforehand and not like the day before they depart, that would be great. But they will have a big buffet breakfast. Lunch is either in and hot or packed when they're heading out on activities. And again, dinner will be back at the hotel. There's a load of options, even for the fussiest of eaters. There's lots and lots of options for boys. Why they're going there is football. So as I said, St George's Park is the home of English football. The facilities are unbelievable, and the kids again will be sport on the hotel front, but also the football. So when they're there, they'll be playing one match against local opposition. That won't be on St George's Park. That'll be a local club side. But while they are there, they'll have on the first evening, and I'll run through a provisional itinerary, which may change a bit, but for a 3-day, 2-night, it should stay pretty much the same. They'll have one training session, which will be led by the Surbiton coaches in the futsal arena, which is pretty cool. So it's an indoor football arena in St George's Park. And then they'll have their main session led by the FA coaches, which is a 2.5 hour session on the main indoor pitch at St George's Park. So yeah, as I said, pretty cool. That is the indoor pitch there. They will be able to have a look and a nosy around the facility. As I said, there's lots of branding. It is really, really impressive. And next to this pitch outside, they've got a pitch called Little Wembley, which is the exact diameters of the Wembley pitch. So that's where the main pitch, where the England team do all of their training. So again, yeah, this is the indoor futsal arena. So they will have exclusive use of this for the first morning, basically to run the energy out of them and the sweets. And then fingers crossed for the first night, although they'll be really excited, they'll be able to have a nice night's sleep and give the teachers a rest. Again, the main thing they are going down for is the fixtures. They're against the local opposition. So I think based on previous tours, we may have 2 to 3 teams going down. So each team will play that one fixture. Hopefully, we're going to look at it. It's not kind of promised, but there may be a scope to have another fixture for the boys to play. So they'll be doing 2 training sessions, 1 training session, 1 self-led, and 2 fixtures. But that'll all become clear in a bit. So, as I said, there's not only the football side of things. We have added in a laser tag activity.
Class.
Again, more from the request of the teachers. Also, we've got another school with the same age group going down in a couple of weekends' time, and we have managed to get them tickets to a Derby football fixture.
Mr. Merton's school.
Mr. Merton's school.
Yeah.
So St Margaret's Bushy, they're going down with a similar number of kids. These fixtures are released over the summer. So we will do our very best for every tour that we send away. We'd like them to get to a live fixture, but again, that will become more clear further down the line. As I said, the provisional itinerary put together, everything in that will be included, whether it's in that order. We'll have to wait and see. As I said, it'll be a relatively early morning departure, so 8-9 o'clock from school. Afternoon arrival at St George's Park, check into the hotel, and then that first evening they'll have a couple of hours in the futsal arena, so I'm sure the teachers will be able to think up some games for them to play. Dinner in the hotel that evening, they'll sleep blissfully and be very well behaved that night. Again, I should say about the hotel is that we will be located on one corridor. They're very, very used to having school groups, with the teachers bookending either end of the corridor, so the kids will know obviously which rooms the teachers are in, so everything does happen. They have the teachers' numbers, but they can also go and knock on the doors as well. Saturday, up for breakfast, and then they'll have the 2-hour FA coaching session in the indoor pitch at St George's Park, off to do laser tag, and then followed up by an evening activity. As I said, ideally we'd love to get the kids to a fixture that evening. Again, this can be moved around. If it's an afternoon kickoff, they can go to that, and then they can go and have laser tag and burgers of an evening. Sunday, check out of the hotel, have a nice full breakfast, and then on the way back, they will play back on the way to school. They will play their fixture against the team. As I said, we're looking to potentially add another fixture for the boys, whether that be on the first afternoon, or again, fitted in onto the Saturday. But yeah, that's a work in progress. In terms of what's included, it's fully inclusive. The boys shouldn't want for anything while they're there. All their food, their drinks, and their activities are all covered. So we don't want to kind of like clown anything. They shouldn't need anything more. But I know, boys, that I've been on tours where kids have spent 200 quid in the club shop. So like, but it is tough to say that they shouldn't really want anything. Maybe a bit of money for the service stations to pick up a few dreaded sweets for the sugar levels to go up. But yeah, they shouldn't want for anything. I'm not going to read out all the inclusions on there, because you can see it and it'll be sent to you. That's it from me. A whistle-stop tour of what's involved in St George's Park tour. Any questions? Maybe.
sorry, it said travel insurance not included. So what
So
do you need?
that's from our side in terms, just because schools have such
So
elevated and
they're
high,
insured.
yeah, they're all through the school.
Insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll cover through that. I think it's also worth saying that in terms of sort of, I know the boys obviously got their year 3 trip there in the residential, probably the first time they're going away from home. With this also being quite, new to them, we often will, every year we've been in St George's Well, we send Mr Buckingham. He knows the children very well. He's part of the PE department anyway, so really kind of good to kind of help with that. Sort of the boys that need a little bit of extra support, maybe feel a little bit nervous about leaving, moving home, away from home for a few days. And normally we'll send a member of SLT, so Mrs Johnson's been 3 years in a row. It's an opportunity for me to shoot her in the laser tag arena. But it just kind of gives that good balance between sort of pastoral support, but also the PE department that we have with us. So I think in terms of all that, it's covered really well in terms of staffing, but we'll know more about staffing once we know who's signed up. And in terms of the sign up, this will be sent out on Friday with a follow-up letter, basically just saying that to secure a place will be a deposit that you'll need to pay. You won't need to pay the remaining balance of that. I need to just, again, the numbers of the cost will be dependent on how many sign up as well. So I've overestimated, so it's likely to come down from what it was. But then, so on Friday, once you secure your place, there won't need any outstanding balances up until the autumn billing. So there'll be nothing for you to worry about up until then. There might be new boys that join year 4 next year, so it keeps us quite fluid in terms of the numbers. But if we can my plea to you is just to sign up as quickly as possible from Friday if you're interested, so then I can secure the place of Henry and we can get it locked in and almost put it to the back of our minds up until next year, and then it's a job ticked off. So I can only say this trip's been really well received over the years. It's been, the boys have loved it. That are now, on their next tour up to Lille, they've been through the whole journey, and it gives them that flavour for it. And often, being biased, the boys say that their best time at Surbiton has been the tours. So just put it out there. But no.
I must have I would echo that. So my eldest, he's been on all the tours. He's done this, and it's amazing. It's probably the one thing he talks about the most.
I didn't pay you to say that. No, thank you.
It's really good.
Yes.
Obviously, JU's got a lot of food allergies.
Yes.
And you've been taking kids with them previously. How do you manage that? Because I'd be quite nervous.
Yeah. So we obviously have all the we're aware of all the allergies they've got through the school system and all the stuff that you've told us. We last tour we went on in October. I spoke on the phone to the head chef, and we take their cards with them. We take everything with them. There is so much food on offer that we do just ensure that make sure that if there's any issues, obviously we can speak directly beforehand anyway. But they're so well catered for. They're used to having fed boys with loads of different allergies before. But in your case, we'll just speak directly to the chef, ensure that we make sure that we've got everything we need for Jago to be as catered for as safe as possible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hi, so with the accommodation, I know you said it was a separate corridor and then staff at each end.
Yeah.
It's not separate from the hotel. So I'm just envisaging probably one of them around.
No, I'm sure they'll be read the riot act beforehand anyway to be better on my head. But no, it's kind of the main hub of the main reception, then has arms going off it, and they will be on one of those arms.
Yeah.
And in a row with the last thing that they want is to put a member of the paying public in between 24 very well behaved boys, but so it'll be all be connected, and they will be
and because we've normally got, like we say, traditionally we'll take 4 members of staff, so we'll have 2 single rooms for 2 staff members, and then we'll have Mr. Weil and Mr. Phillips sharing, unfortunately, together. Then you'd normally have one at either end, and then one would often be sandwiched in the middle to kind of manage the crowd in the night. But to be honest, again, I've done these tours for so long that's one of the things that the boys get given a little card with all the teachers' rooms numbers on. So if they need anything at night, they can knock on the door. It's really so safe. The hotel is obviously, as you've seen, it's beautiful. They'll be like kings. They'll just lying on their bed and telling you, they're loving it. Yeah. But I think, obviously those concerns about roomings and stuff, when we get closer to the time we know who's going, we traditionally speak to the year 3 teachers because they know them probably better than year 4 because it's quite early on into their year 4 form journey. But we choose those rooms ourselves just because A, we know who they get on with, and B, it causes no issues beforehand. They get worried about when they arrive. They turn up, they're put in a room with someone that we know that they do get on with from knowing them as well as we do. We've never ever had any issues with the rooming before.
And is it 2 or 3 in a room?
Again, it depends on numbers, but it'll be twins or threes, won't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think a mixture.
It can be a mixture, yeah.
Did you say the rooms are connected? Or
No, not.
No.
So they're separate rooms, but they're on the
Separate
same corridor.
Yeah.
okay, so the
Just next to
rooms
each other.
by themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no
With no supervision.
interconnecting doors, otherwise they'll
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? All 24 of them in one room. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah.
They were like, yeah.
I think you said you worked together for 10 years,
Yeah.
and then you said the company had just been set up last year. is
Yeah,
that-
so we
is that
started
right?
March the
So
1st last
what
year.
was the reason for the change of company? Is this the first year we're using this company, as it were? Do you see what I mean?
So I
Yeah.
don't know if that question's down to me, but it tends
Well,
to.
yeah, so in terms of, so you were with a different company.
So I work for
yeah.
Inspire Sport,
Yeah.
and then my business partner worked for Neighbour in Doran, and we both got 2 kids under 2, and thought, why don't we make our lives a hell of a lot harder? We set up our own company, but no, we just kind of we've been in the industry for this long, and I work in the south of England.
Yeah. So you're basically just replicating what you used to do.
Doing exactly the same.
Yes,
I'm
that
going
was
from
really the
Banner.
point of my question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just for these things and knowing that often there's so many tour companies out there that actually having a great relationship with Henry it's much easier for me to, and for the confidence for me to put into him to deliver, and you know, as Mrs. Spalding said, we've delivered some fantastic tours through the years, so why change something that isn't broke? Mr. White, any questions on the sports tour? No? Yes.
Couple of questions from people in the year that couldn't make it this morning. So
Yeah.
one of them you've partly answered, I think, about how you control the boys and the rooms. So it sounds like a lot of it is getting them tired and reading
Yeah.
the Riot Act beforehand.
I would say though on that though that we do appreciate that they are on a tour and they are going to push some boundaries. We know that they're children. I was at that age before, and I would still probably push boundaries now if I go to a hotel. At the end of the day, we want them to enjoy their experience, and we don't want to be policing them 24/7. However, we will be there. You know, we often when we went last time there was a corridor where the rooms were, and there's a little sort of communal area where the staff sat pretty much for a couple of hours whilst the kids were sleeping, hopefully. And we allow, you know, at the end of the day, we give them the set rules in terms of bedtime, that they can read, lights out at a certain time, and then realistically, we can't really control anything else. If they sleep, great. If they don't, they'll be tired the next day, and that's something that they'll have to learn and hopefully not be. But I'm sure, like you say, we tire them out. There's not a moment where we hardly spend, other than sleeping, any time in the rooms. We're never really in there. To stop, that's when the mischief will happen. You know, those hour gaps where you might have a time to go and have some free time. Year 4s don't need free time. We will do a quiz together, a structured quiz, or we'll go on a little tour, a little walk around the site to kind of stretch our legs. There's hardly any time other than maybe showering or changing their outfit. They don't spend 0 time in their bedrooms at all.
They don't generally shower either.
That is true. Do they even change their clothes? Is it still packed as you left it?
The other question from the year was about staff pupil ratio.
Yeah. So again, it will often be 1 to 6, 1 to 8 max. But once we know again who's going and sort of the people that are on the trip, that's where we'll kind of look with Mrs. Johnson, myself, Mrs. Chong. We'll look at the appropriate allocation of staffing. In previous years, we have, dependent on again the numbers and who has gone, the school occasionally send additional staff members as well, as part. The school will pay for that themselves, but that just is an additional member. We sometimes send. Again, depending on the number, we had one year where Mrs. Johnson literally drove the bags and the minibus, and that was it. And then she stayed, and then she drove them back. And then we had just an extra member of staff and with us, which again, I'd love to take loads of staff because it's great. It's a great place to go. But the ratio is all sorted there. Yes.
I've got 2 older children, and when my oldest went on a sports tour, he got
Yeah.
sick, and the
Yeah.
staff took ages to phone me. So, if one of the kids does get sick,
Yeah,
are you quite proactive in contacting the parent?
absolutely.
Because
yeah.
I'd just like to come and get him if he's ill.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we had, so,
It's fine.
experience of that was 2 years ago when a boy was, we were woken up, well, you were there on that trip, when the boy had thrown up all over his bed. I think it was
Rafe was in the room.
Rafe was in the room, yeah. And we called the parents, well, not at 4 o'clock in the morning. He was fine. A couple of hours later, we called them first thing in the morning. Again, and that's common practice for us. We'll ensure, and with social media and with all of our, and obviously not publishing that, but we will update the things on the tour regularly throughout the trips, as we do every trip. We'll be updating where we go. We're sending text messages to parents on the via MIS, to keep you really updated on what your boys are up to. But maybe you can use the weekend to plan a nice trip away for yourselves. But yeah, in terms of that, yeah, we'll call as soon as it's appropriate to call. We'll give you.
Will you take our other child away with you?
Could look into that one. Yeah.
She can teach them.
Yeah.
She can train.
Okay. Is there any other questions at all?
Yeah, a couple that Charlie would want answered.
Yeah.
What's the spa facility?
En suite. Yeah.
Can you book a massage?
Can you recommend? Well, I don't know, to be fair. Is there massage facilities at St George's?
I'm not sure.
I lost you for half an hour one year, so I don't know where you went.
There's my steam room and sauna.
Got a steam room and sauna. Okay. And then I think minibar.
Minibar
was the other one.
A few things in the minibar, I'm sure. Yeah. No, honestly though, I appreciate your time, guys, and as I said, just following up, everything will go out Friday, so this PowerPoint presentation will be there. Run through it with the boys. I'm sure they're all keen, as they are. That's the reason you're here. And if there's anything I can do to answer, to help any other questions or queries or concerns, then do let me know. But Henry, thank you for your time this morning. I know it's a busy time for you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.